Hey everyone, welcome back to the Micro Lab. I'm your host Will as always. I wanted to start a small project to try to generate methane. I have a bunny as we saw in the last video, and bunnies, like cows, like goats, are sort of ruminant animals that either have rumens or elongated cecums. This is a special part of their digestive system where they can ferment grasses. Specifically, what does the fermentation are bacteria, and what generates the methane here is archaea. So I've been collecting my bunny's feces for around about a month and a half now. It's a very simple setup where I would just collect her feces in this bucket and then fabricate a sort of way to capture the gas here like I've done. I found a lid that will seal on top, got some plumbing fixtures, and just routed a hose into my gas bladder here, which is just a beach ball. Hopefully over the next couple weeks we'll generate a lot of methane. I'll make videos about how to sort of reroute the methane that's collected in this bladder to another source, like to sort of compress it. And then hopefully the end goal is to use all this methane generated from the feces to cook up some food. I have a propane burning gas stove outside, so it'll be really fun to see if I can generate enough gas to make a full meal outside. So without further ado, I think we can just jump right in. The first thing that I did for this project was to drill a 1.5 inch hole right here in the side of the bucket. Next I found this plumbing fixture where you can seal it really tightly from one side. It's very important that the bucket lid here be sealable. It's sealable because it has this rubber O-ring within the lid. Here is it from the other side where you have my plumbing fixture where I can tighten it really tightly, and again this would seal it to the bucket. Next you can get a ribbed hose fixture, screw it in, and attach a hose, really of any diameter in this case. Also for all these fixtures I used a small layer of plumber's tape. This makes sure the seal between all these fixtures are really strong. On the other end of the hose here you can see a double-ended ridged hose fixture here where you can tighten the hose onto the ribbed section and place it or shove it directly into your gas bladder, in this case just a Walmart beach ball. It is also important that you test these certain things for leaks. So what you can do is go to your bathtub, fill it up with around 3 to 4 inches of water, submerge the fixture into the water, and either blow or squeeze your gas bladder from the other side, and hopefully you shouldn't see any air bubbles going from around the fixture. In this case I didn't see any. The bubbles were just going up and around the sides of the bucket, thus agitating the surface of the water there. And so in this case I can really confirm that this fixture on this side is sealed really well. The last part here is just to add water. In this case I added enough water, maybe 3.5–4 gallons. You just want everything to get really nice and moist, and you also don't want the water level to become too high such that if there is any frothing or bubbling, that the froth or the bubbles go into your sort of gas fixture or go into the hose. You do not want that. So in this case I filled it up to maybe 2 or 3 inches below the lid. You just want to make sure everything is mixed thoroughly and everything is really moist. And what I did, and for your own viewing pleasure, I just grabbed a stick and attempted to stir around all the pieces to make sure everything was nice and hydrated. Really the best way to do this is to try to emulsify it, blend it all together to make sure all of the larger pieces are kind of destroyed and made into a nice homogeneous mush. Next, once you have all the water inside, you want to put your bucket lid fixture on. You need to really make sure that the bucket lid is attached firmly and equal on all sides such that the seal is really good and strong. Again, the rubber O-ring in there should seal it up really well, and you need to make sure it's sealed tightly. Last but not least, you should really put it in a sort of warmer area. Temperature is really important. In this case I just put it in my garage, a place where no one really is going to mess with it or knock it over or kind of play with it. That pretty much brings us to the end of this preliminary construction and setup of my methane generator here. Hopefully we see methane arriving in the gas bladder between 2 to 3 weeks of this initial construction date. By the time of this edit, it's been around 5 days and I personally haven't seen any methane, but that might be due to the fact that the feces in this case was in the bucket for a long period of time, around a month and a half, so the pieces were quite dry. Some of the archaea that we want to make the methane might have died, so it might take a good amount of time for them to build up their population again so we can see a really nice sustained sort of production of methane over time. But again, that pretty much brings us to the end. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. Hopefully I can keep you updated on all this stuff. Hopefully we can get some really good gas.